Yes, people, what's going on? It's Eagle Talks Football. We're back again with another video. Today, no YouTube beef, none of that stuff today. We're just going to be talking strictly about the football. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about Arsenal transfer news. As you guys are aware, there is a lot of stuff that I haven't spoken about during the weekend. Apparently, Arsenal could sign Federico Chiesa. We are still linked to Zirkzee, that's currently playing for Bologna over in Italy. The situation with Sesko could be potentially finalized come Friday, as the player wants a decision over his future before the Euros. And could Arsenal actually get Douglas Luiz? Could Arsenal get 50 million for Aaron Ramsdale? I don't know if anyone's going to pay that kind of money for him, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone's doing well in the chat. Let me know how you guys are doing today, where you're watching from also. And big up to Never a Foul, everyone over there who's just sent us over. Kaz, shout out to you. Big up, Walala. Hope you're doing well. I'm here for the great Elite Taka debate. Am I in time? You're late, bro. You're a day late for that one. 50 million for Aaron Ramsdale would be a great deal. You know what? Maybe let's start there. So reportedly, there is rumors flying about that Arsenal have set a price tag for Aaron Ramsdale, and it is a ridiculously expensive price tag that Arsenal have put on him. Happy Monday, brother. Love from Montreal, Canada. Yo, you're up early, bro. You're up early. What is it for you? 6 o'clock already? Yeah, you're up early, bro. But yeah, we got the first piece of news here, which is 50 million for Aaron Ramsdale. Guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. Who is going to buy Aaron Ramsdale for 50 million? We can set unrealistic expectations for our player sales, but who on earth which club is going to come and say, you know what, I want Aaron Ramsdale, I'm willing to spend 50 million for him? I just don't know if he's going to be able to increase his value, especially when he's not playing in the Euros, when he's not playing for Arsenal. Like, bro, I just don't know how we're going to be able to try to attract anybody to buy him for around 50 million. It seems like a very ambitious price tag that's been set by the club, and this might be deterring Arsenal from getting a good sale. It would be great business, but you need somebody to want to buy him to pay that kind of money. Or they also said 40 million plus add-ons. I hear it, but guys, who's going to come in and buy him right now? Burnley have been priced out of a move. Newcastle seem to have been priced out of a move. Chelsea are not looking at Aaron Ramsdale as a potential goalkeeper target. AC Milan and all these other clubs that are interested in him are not going to spend that type of money. So my question to you guys is, which club is going to come in and pay 50 million for Aaron Ramsdale? I think Arsenal need to lower the valuation. I know we're bad at player sales, but at this moment in time, we've ruined Aaron Ramsdale's market. We should have probably sold him last year. And at this moment in time, this seems like an unrealistic expectation from the club. And I know the rumors come from the Sun, but 35, 40 makes more sense at this moment in time when a guy's not playing, when he's consistently not starting, when he's not playing for his country or his club. How can we dare ask for this type of money? It just doesn't make any sense. I get it that we want a valuation set for our players, but 50 million? Come on, guys. Does anybody believe we can get 50 million pounds for Aaron Ramsdale? Please do let me know in the chat if you believe Arsenal could somehow garner a 50 million pound transfer fee for Aaron Ramsdale. It just does seem a little bit far-fetched, in my opinion, and it seems out of our reach to be asking for that kind of money when the player has not played well, and he's not played at all, to be fair, for the recently. Last time I think he played, he didn't have the best of games versus Brentford. It was quite poor, actually, when you think about it. It was really a sad sight to see how he performed in that game. I thought he would do a little bit better in that game, but he did not do so well. So yeah, I don't think that is going to be possible. But yeah, people in the chat, let me know if you guys agree. If you don't agree, let me know what you're saying. I will take Ramsdale at City for backup for Stefan Ortega. Ederson looks like he's leaving. Would you pay 50 million though? Would you pay 50 million though for Aaron Ramsdale as a backup? That is a question. I don't think Aaron Ramsdale wants to be a backup either. He's quite young. He wants to start week in, week out. So wherever he gets a move, he's going to want to be guaranteed starting minutes. I don't know, man. I just think people need to look at our previous transfers. We sold Leno for peanuts. We sold Martinez for a decent amount. They both went on to do well at the other clubs. I think if Aaron Ramsdale does go somewhere, he'll do really well. But 50 million just seems like the price tag is just a little bit too steep for me. And the source is from a well-respected journalist in the UK for the Sun, but the Sun obviously is a tabloid publication that a lot of people do not rate. So that is what is happening with Aaron Ramsdale. Now, also, people, let me know what you guys are saying in the comment section. Hope you guys are doing well. Please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so in the comment section. It is absolutely free. And I'm going to go on to the next transfer. But before I go on to the next transfer, I just want to talk about something quickly. Have you guys seen how the Arsenal players have been doing on their international duty? The Arsenal players have absolutely been killing it on international duty. When I say you have guys like Havertz scoring a goal for Germany, Leandro Trossard scoring a goal for Belgium. You have Martinelli scoring a goal for Brazil. You have Martin Ødegaard getting his assists for Norway. These guys are all cooking right now during this international break, and they're doing really well. So I'm very proud of these boys. And international football, to have Arsenal players playing in international football and doing really well, it just makes me really happy to see. I like seeing these guys going on doing great things with their country. But I just hope that hopefully they keep themselves fit. Not fingers crossed. Forget that. I don't believe in that stuff. But you know what I mean. Hopefully these guys can stay fit during the international break, and hopefully they can continue to bang in the goals, because at this moment in time they're looking really good for their clubs and their countries. Actually, Martinelli wasn't looking that good for Arsenal, but hopefully he can kick on with the Brazil national team. That is a prestigious thing to have on your resume, to be one of the players for Brazil, banging in goals and doing great things for them. That is really, really good news. But yeah, enough about that. Big up everyone. Hope you're big up, doing great. I'm doing great, man. Hope you're doing well. How is Sesko better than Osimhen? Should we talk about this now? Sesko or Osimhen? Let's talk about this. So the situation with Sesko and Osimhen is quite straightforward. Yo, what is going on here? What is going on here? Okay, so the situation with Benjamin Sesko and Osimhen is pretty straightforward. If I was to compare the two, Benjamin Sesko and Osimhen, and I was just gonna look at the straight comparison for the two of them, this is what I would say. I think Benjamin Sesko is less proven, of course. We know that for a fact. That is a fact. You can't debate that. But Osimhen is going to cost you 3 times the price. The price valuation for Osimhen is, at this moment in time, ridiculous. It is a ridiculous price tag. So you have one who's available for around 130 million euros, and the other one who's available for what they're saying, I forget exactly what the price that they're saying is, 65 or 40 million, right? Now, let me just go to this. So you can see here, games played, goals scored, and obviously Sesko has less goals, less assists in his career, and he's played less games than Victor Osimhen. He's also played less games in the top 5 league, as my man here has played at Lille, and he's played at Napoli. I'm not in no way or form saying Sesko at this moment in time is a better all-around player than Victor Osimhen, but I am saying he does have certain abilities that show me that he can be a better player than Victor Osimhen based on his finishing ability with both of his feet. He's taller, he's faster, and at a younger age, 2 years that to be exact, he's already showing better statistical finishing rates and conversion rates than Victor Osimhen. I can go through that right now if you guys want, but you guys can also check it on yourself on Squawker. Check per minute, per 90 minutes. Check the statistics comparing the two of them, and you can see who is the better player. Now, you also have people talking about Victor Gyökeres. Don't get me wrong, Victor Gyökeres' statistics are out of this world also. It does look like Arsenal are looking for 3 strikers, but at this moment in time, I don't think Arsenal are going to rush into signing either of them, genuinely. I just think it's going to be a situation where we take our time, we stay patient, and to give you guys a more in-depth update on what's happening with those two guys, Victor Osimhen and what do you call it, Sesko. Let's look at it. So first, we got Fabrizio Romano was saying something about Kimmich. We'll come back to that in a bit. You got certain people talking about Arsenal did not set a deadline for Sesko. I'm not going to take that guy serious. Where is Kimmich? No, we'll talk about that in a bit. You know when you're looking for something, you can't find it? Let me find this. Just bear with me. Bear with me here, people. So it looks like on the last article that I seen about Sesko was pretty straightforward. It said that Arsenal are still the favorites to sign him. Yes, Arsenal are still the favorites to sign Sesko. Arsenal believe that they want that they are the favorites to sign Sesko on present. The player's agent have indicated they wish to make a decision on the start of the Euros, before the start of the Euros, and a contract is on the table for RB Leipzig. They are not ruling out with that being a very possibly. So it does look like Leipzig have a contract on the table for him. The player wants the deal sorted by Friday. As you guys know, we spoke to Tom Canton the other day, and he did say that Arsenal are in no rush to get this deal sorted quick. Arsenal are in no rush to get this deal sorted in the next 7 to 8 days. This seems like something that they are comfortably willing to wait and to see where things lie and where things go from. Personally, at this moment in time, I don't think Benjamin Sesko is our number one priority based on how the rumors and and everything has gone quiet. It does seem like it's not about the price tag, I don't think, because you could just trigger the release clause. The deadline for the release clause is until the 31st of the end of the month. So they have until the end of this month to trigger that release clause. They are in no means in a rush to have to trigger that release clause before the end of the month. Why would we go out of our way and sign a player at the beginning of June when we can wait until the end of June and still sign the player for the exact same price? The exact same price. You know what I mean? That is the situation right now. And the player is trying to put deadlines. The player is trying to push to have a decision sorted before a certain time. The player and his team are trying to organize everything to be sorted before a certain time. But it just seems like at this moment in time, they can continuously say they want a decision before the Euros. They want a decision before the Euros. They want a decision before the Euros. But it is literally the same rhetoric over and over again, but they don't have the power. It's basically they have to wait, and they themselves don't even know where they're going to be playing next season. That is the situation. Right here, you can see it right here. Even Fabrizio Romano says in the next days, the situation with Benjamin Sesko will become clear. The player will make a decision of his future. Today, I can guarantee you 100% that even Sesko himself knows not even Sesko himself knows where he will be playing next season. Sorry, my dyslexia is jumping in right there. So it just goes to show you, even the player himself does not know where he will be come the end of July. If Arsenal trigger a release clause before he agrees a new deal with RB Leipzig, then he's going to be an Arsenal player. If Chelsea trigger the release clause before the 31st of July, he will become a Chelsea player. If he agrees a new deal with RB Leipzig, the release clause is void. There's potentially going to be a higher release clause, or there won't be a release clause at all. And in that case, you will not be seeing Chelsea or Arsenal moving for him, because then the potential and the price will not match up the opportunity cost. Right now, the reason why everyone's looking at him is because his price tag, his age, and the profile of player that he is, it seems like a bargain. It seems like a bargain. So that is the main thing that's going on with Benjamin Sesko, to keep you guys updated on everything going on with Benjamin Sesko. I hope that makes a little bit more sense on what's happening. It does kind of give me Thomas Partey vibes. I fully understand that. Now, you asked me what's going on with Osimhen. What's going on with Osimhen? Everyone's asking me. What's going on with Osimhen? Is there any update on Osimhen? Well, there was an update recently from James Charles, is that his name? Let me figure it out. Let me go show you guys. So yeah, it's Charles Watts actually. What am I talking about? Why did I say James Charles? The fuck? Yeah, I was told that November that Victor Osimhen was our primary target as a striker. I can honestly say I've not heard any of his name being mentioned since from any of my contacts. I can't see it happening. That's what Charles Watts said on his YouTube channel. That's what's currently Team News Tix was also speaking about on Charles Watts' YouTube channel. So it does seem like that is completely off the table at this moment in time. And that's not the only time I've heard this also. I've heard this twice now. This is the second time I've heard Victor Osimhen deal is off the table. This is the second time I've heard this week that the Victor Osimhen deal looks like it's not going to happen. And it's not a coincidence that this news is coming out at this moment in time. Guys, they're asking for a ridiculous 130 million euros release clause to be triggered. They don't want to budge on their valuation, and Napoli are not somebody to change when they have a price tag, when they have a valuation for a player. They tend to keep it as much as possible on that valuation. And this is what we got the last time we got an update on this. This is what it said. Victor Osimhen is expected an offer from Arsenal or Saudi. Victor Osimhen's dream is to move to the Premier League, but that doesn't mean anything because he's dreaming. But Napoli insists that the 130 million release clause is paid. Now, the Gazzetta Sport della Sport news is not the most reliable news. Is not the most reliable news company, but what do you call it? At this moment in time, we're gonna have to look at it. Sorry about that. Got a little distracted. Wife came in, but yeah, that's way too expensive in my opinion. I don't think that's gonna happen, and that is pretty straightforward. Why that's not gonna happen? We already know this. Let's keep it real. Nobody's signing Victor Osimhen for that price. Nobody's signing Victor Osimhen for that price, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. But let's go to another potential striker that Arsenal are looking at. That I've been hearing Arsenal have been looking at, and rumors have been flying around about this gentleman for the last coming days or something. We've been hearing a lot about Zirkzee from Bologna. So let me just show you guys what is being said at this moment in time about that player. This is what's being said. So Zirkzee, this is the latest on Zirkzee. Apparently, Manchester United and Arsenal are interested in the player. Also, I'm not sold on this player personally. I think he's has high potential, but if he's as good as everyone says he was, I think he would have potentially stayed at Bayern Munich. He would have fought for his place in there. 34 million. It just seems like a cheap option. This seems like something that the player agents are linking to us. I don't think we are actually serious about this potential signing because everything that I'm hearing about it is more sources that are not close to the UK, sources that are in Italy, sources that are not as reliable. Don't get me wrong, I don't know enough about Joshua. What do you call it? Zirkzee? That's how you pronounce it. Let me see. 1 second.
Joshua
Zirkzee. Yeah. So Arsenal and Manchester United remain interested in the Bologna striker. I don't know how reliable that is. Both clubs are understood closely monitoring the development of the player. That could be true. Amongst the interests are AC Milan. I think that's the more likely destination for the player, to be fair. As for the 34 million pound release clause, I don't see Arsenal triggering a 34 million pound release clause for Joshua Zirkzee when we're looking for somebody who has the potential to go to kick on and become our number one striker. I just don't think he has that potential at this moment in time. If Zirkzee was coming in as a potential Eddie Nketiah replacement and he's a backup, fair. But if he's coming in to be our main number 9 or to potentially push to be our main number 9, I think it would be a waste of allocation of funds, in my opinion. And I just haven't heard enough to state that this guy is the guy for Arsenal to sign, in my opinion. But yeah, people saying LOL. What are we saying LOL for? Oh yeah, you're probably saying LOL for the thing when I called Charles Watts James Charles. Yeah, that was a mad thing. But yeah, same another person here. So this is the person who originally reported it. Sky Sports news guy, 50 million followers. He's directly on the Sky website saying that Arsenal are still monitoring the player. In my opinion, this is just hearsay. Nothing more than hearsay. And monitoring the player, we monitor hundreds of players. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to sign them. That's just the reality. We monitor so many players, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to actually sign those players. It's just one of those things where they just throw it out there. They say you're monitoring a player, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to actually get that player in through the door. Just because you're monitoring them. Arsenal could be potentially monitoring hundreds and hundreds of players. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to actually sign those players. But yeah, moving on to the next one. Do you guys know Federico Chiesa? Yes. When I say Federico Chiesa, I mean the man who was Italy's star boy, the man who won the Euros, Juventus's shining light, one of the most highest potential wingers in world football just a couple years ago, is now potentially up for sale in Juventus. Yes. Federico Chiesa's future is currently uncertain at Juventus. And Arsenal have been linked to Federico Chiesa. Should I dare say a potential Bukayo Saka backup? Huh? Should I say or people might start messaging me saying, no, he's better than Saka. Apparently everyone's better than Saka in certain people's books, but you know what I mean. I think this is a potential opportunity where Arsenal can maybe take advantage of a team that is looking to pivot and get a player that we necessarily wouldn't have been able to get at the beginning of maybe last season. Federico Chiesa does have a bad injury record, and he's been injured quite often. That would be an issue. But could maybe when he's not being depended on to be a starter week in, week out, and he's not being depended on to be a player who potentially plays week in, week out, could he be the type of talent you can strengthen your team with? And he's still quite young. Federico Chiesa for 40 million is around 35 million. For 45 million would be like 40 million. 40 million for a backup winger is quite fair. He's 26 years old. This is a guy who's just a couple years removed from winning the Euros with Italy and being a guy who's playing 30 plus games, getting you close to double digit goals and assists in both categories. Since then, he had 14 games played in 2021, 2022. He had 22 games played in 2022, 2023. Last season, he had the most games played where he's played in a long time. He had 33 games played. He was relatively fit and available last season for majority of it. Could this be that maybe he's just not reaching his potential at Juventus and they want to pivot away from him? Or could he just be a good cover for us in that right wing position? I don't know if we're serious about this because this is coming from Juventus webpage. The source is Buki because if they're linking him to Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea, it just seems like there's interest, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to act on the interest. So don't get too excited. But is this a player you'd want? Is this a player who you'd actually bring to the table? He could bring competition for places. Yes, definitely. Definitely could bring some competition for the places. I think he would definitely strengthen our right wing position, but is he able to stay fit? Could he handle the physicality of the Premier League? Are Arsenal actually willing to spend 40 to 35 million on a backup winger this window? We should, but are we? These are all the questions we need to find out, and we're going to find out more in the coming days, weeks, months. Hope so. But yeah, moving on from that, one more attacker that we need to talk about before we go on to anything else. We got an update on Victor Gyökeres from Ben Jacobs, friend of the show, by the way. Big up Ben Jacobs every time. Arsenal are targeting a young profile striker. I think Arsenal, 1 second. I don't know if Gyökeres and Ferguson are still in our interest. What? Why are we still talking about Gyökeres and Ferguson? I don't think maybe Gyökeres, but Ferguson? What the hell? Since when are we still talking about Ferguson? I thought the moment Brighton put a ridiculous price tag on Ferguson, we stopped talking about Ferguson. But he's saying among Sesko, they're considering Ferguson and Gyökeres, but I've ruled out Tony. They've ruled out Tony. Yeah, we've ruled out Tony. Even though we're hearing reports about Arsenal moving for Victor Osimhen, the outlay is serving that nothing is in advance at this stage. And It's a long window, of course, but very better. But there are better value and slightly younger strikers profiles for Arsenal promising at this time. It just sounds like he's just giving us a synopsis on everything that we already know. Nothing new, no new information here with this piece of information from from Ben Jacobs. That is the honest truth. Nothing new there to be heard from that perspective. But this here is a little bit different. This here is a little bit different. Douglas Luiz could leave Aston Villa. Yes, Douglas Luiz could leave Aston Villa very, very soon. Arsenal have been interested in Douglas Luiz in the past. Arsenal will continue to be interested in Douglas Luiz until he makes a move to another club potentially. This is a former Man City guy. This is a guy who Arteta, I'm pretty sure, maybe worked with when he was at Man City. And this is a guy who we're going to continue to be linked to until the deal is sorted. At this moment in time, it does seem like he is on the move from Aston Villa. Aston Villa want a ridiculous £50 million. Do you guys think £50 million makes sense for Douglas Luiz? Let me know. He doesn't know how to handle egos or big players. I think that's a myth. I think we got to realize that the players that had to leave Arsenal, like Aubameyang, also, that they had to leave. They were not doing good enough. So Arteta having a bad ego or something like that doesn't make sense, because he's literally worked with some of the best players at Man City, and they say that, you know what, he's one of the reasons why they gotten better. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. Until he signs somebody who's fully proven, you guys are going to continue to say that. Douglas Luiz is quality, but does it make sense to spend 50 million on Douglas Luiz when you can potentially go and get a Joshua Kimmich? Because apparently Joshua Kimmich is available, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently Joshua Kimmich is available on a potential free transfer this summer transfer window. Bayern are open to offers for Joshua Kimmich this summer as his contract expires and are at a complete standstill. So yeah, his contract expires next season, I think. So you can potentially get him this season for a decent fee. Joshua Kimmich for a discount, or Douglas Luiz for 50 million. I think it's pretty much a no-brainer there. Seriously, I think it's a no-brainer. I was talking about Joshua Kimmich with what do you call it? If Joshua Kimmich comes to Premier League, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up at a Man City or if he goes to a Barcelona. But if Arsenal can somehow grab Joshua Kimmich on a cheap deal, guys, that would be outstanding. Also, if we're going to sign a Premier League midfielder, I would rather sign an Onana, a Bruno Guimaraes. I'm just over the Douglas Luiz thing. I think he's a good player, but we currently have Declan Rice in our team. We currently have Jorginho and these guys. I want somebody who's more nailed on in a position, because I think if we were to sign Douglas Luiz and Rice, it would be decent, but it would not be a level raiser for me. It would not be a level raiser for me, because I don't think Douglas Luiz is going to be doing any better than what he's doing right now. I think he's close to what the best is you're going to see from a Douglas Luiz. I don't think he has more to expand his game with. That's just me. As for an Onana, I can see that he has the physicality, the body, and the passing range, where when you look at Bruno Guimaraes, you can see he's already one of the best in the league at what he does. Douglas Luiz, I think he had a really good season, and what you've seen from him this year from Aston Villa is probably what you can see on a good season from him. I don't think you're going to see more than that. You're not going to see. You're going to see him get goals. You're going to see him get. He has the knack of getting at the end of goals and getting at the end of chances, and he does have He's a really good player. Don't get me wrong. It's just, is he a level raiser? Is he somebody who's going to raise our levels? Is he somebody who's going to have an elite ability to bring to a squad that other players don't have? He's a jack of all trades. I would say master of none, and that's maybe harsh. We could have got him for a lot cheaper earlier in the season too. But yeah, Kimmich to Arsenal. Probably you guys are saying probably not because of Arteta. That's what some people are saying. City will try to get him. Arsenal should be all over him. Yeah, definitely. We should definitely try to get him. But will it happen? That is a different story in itself. Let's go to the final couple stories before we move on for the day. It does look like the Amadou Onana deal does not look like it's going to happen. Amadou Onana to Arsenal does not look like it is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like Amadou Onana will not be joining Arsenal, as reported by John Cross in the Mirror. He's basically saying that he's on the radar, but he's not the type of player that we want. So at this moment in time, it does look like Onana is not going to happen. So Onana will not join Arsenal this summer. This is what John Cross from the Mirror has said. He's gone out on a limb and basically poo-pooed the whole story, poo-pooed the whole link, poo-pooed everything about it. He's saying, you know what, this is not going to happen. And I'm quite disappointed. I was sort of getting around to the possibility of looking at Onana as a potential signing. But if Everton are asking for ridiculous fees, maybe that's why. We never really got to the point where we started speaking about price tags for Onana. It was just more, would you take him? Would you take him? Would you take him? But maybe he's just not what we need. Maybe he's just not what we need. People are saying this is good news. Fair enough. Some people don't want Onana. Some people do want Onana. Yeah, everyone is a little different. Everyone is a little different. Now, finally, let's see if there's any more news. Apparently, Arsenal are ready to accept 10 million for Kieran Tierney. Arsenal are ready to accept 10 million for Kieran Tierney. Damn. Arsenal, this is crazy. I didn't think we to sell Kieran Tierney is one thing, but 10 million? Surely is 10 million a fair price tag for Kieran Tierney on a row? Maybe I'm being biased. Talk to me. If anybody in the chat is not an Arsenal fan, tell me, do you think this is fair? This is a fair valuation? Because I thought we would be able to get more than that. I thought we'd be able to get more than that for him. I thought he'd be worth a little bit more than that, like 10 million for Kieran Tierney. Damn, we're really not getting much value. We're not really going to be able to sell him for much, are we? That is disappointing, to say the least. Very disappointing. But hey, it is what it is. These days, you can't get everything you want. You can't get everything you want. That's just the reality. You're not going to be able to sell the player for much if there's that injury prone. I hear the people in the chat. I fully understand it. And then finally, there is some reports about this gentleman here who plays for Stuttgart, a left back from Stuttgart. The source is not the most reliable source, to be fair, but there you go. Arsenal are apparently looking at the Scotland to watch the Stuttgart left back to see how he does, and if he was to be one of the players that Arsenal look at getting him in. I don't know if this is going to be legitimate or not. At this moment in time, it does seem like we are being linked to every left back and every center forward and every friggin' midfielder that there is. But this is just another one of those that just does not seem to be on the radar, I don't think. But we'll see what happens with that. And then finally, let me just see if there's any news here. At the start of the year, no, that is an opinion piece. That is not a news piece. Anything here? Arsenal are definitely interested in left back. You know what? This has gone quiet also. Guys, honestly, I don't think there's going to be much movement until later in the window. We're going to have to come back. I try to give you guys a quick little update. Not really too much more to discuss. So I'm going to wrap it up here. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Also, I hope you guys seen, the player of the year. Arsenal's player of the year went to Martin Ødegaard, if I'm not mistaken. You also had Saliba finish third and Declan Rice finish second. And Saliba also did an interview recently with L'Equipe. I did a TikTok on that. I did a bunch of other videos earlier this week on things, so you can go check those out. And I'll be back later tonight for my Arsenal Vibes from the Six show, where I'm going to be talking and previewing the Euros 2024. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next show. Love for the love, people. You already know what it is. I appreciate every single time you guys join us for a video, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace. We're out of here, people.
Getting out. But it's all ants there.